Welcome to Youth Baseball Talk with Gabriel and Chris.
Today's guest is Brian with Pro Source Baseball. Thanks for coming in today, Brian.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Today's sponsor is Rainbow Pools. Thank you for sponsoring today's video. Again, thank you for joining us. How long have you been with this team for?
Been with the organization for about a year to date.
And what got you into coaching?
Well, I played for a long time and couldn't put it down.
How long have you played for? Like, what's the highest level have you played?
I played professionally for 3 years.
Okay, where'd you play?
Played with the Lincoln Salt Dogs, San Angelo Colts, and then the Windy City Thunderbolts.
So you just couldn't put the fungos down, the baseball practices away?
Nope.
So when did you get out of playing professionally?
That was, 2015.
Okay. And so you just jumped into coaching right after that, or did you take a break?
Not immediately. Right after I got done, let's see, what did I do? I got a waiting job, or a waiter.
Mm-hmm.
And then I drove buses for a little bit. And so I was kind of like sitting around. I was like, man, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love driving buses. It was a lot of fun operating a big vehicle. The kids were a little rowdy, but I kept them under control. But I was sitting there one morning at 5:30 a.m. thinking, I was like, man, making money, but I could be making money coaching baseball. So why don't I just go ahead and do that? Got into it with one team, and then the opportunity came up for me to take another team, and I was like, hey, that's more money.
There you go.
And then I get to coach baseball for a lot longer time and maybe make it a little bit more of a major focus. So
that's cool. So how many teams are in this organization, and who runs the organization? So
team-wise, I believe we have about 17 to 20 teams. Our owner is Brandon Agmemnoni. We call him Aggie because that's impossible to pronounce. And he's a current MLB scout for the Braves, former professional pitcher. He's owned and operated it for, I think, around 17, 18 years.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Nice.
Yeah, so it really sticks with those kids, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
So how would you describe your coaching style?
That's difficult. 'Cause baseball coach. I don't know. Especially at the youth level, I focus on development.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll leave a kid out there, put him into a difficult situation to teach him something, or take time, maybe pull him off the field to teach
coach
him up, teach him a lesson. We'll go through what you went wrong, what you need to do to be better, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that's a style, but I mean,
let me help you out a little bit.
Sure.
Are you strict? Are you more the fun coach?
Is it just business on the field? And
so I try to have a happy medium.
Okay.
So when you play baseball, you can't be tight. Like you just can't. Like I've seen plenty of teams, plenty of coaches, and plenty of players that play tight. You can tell they're just tightened up. They're out there worried, for whatever reason, and it just never works out. So I try to keep them loose, try to keep them, happy and positive and whatnot. But I mean, it is a game, and we're trying to win. So you gotta there's some level of
toughness, maybe.
There it is. Sorry,
it's all right.
Some level of toughness, but try to keep it away from demeaning.
Yeah.
So you can be tough, you can deliver messages, but there's always got to be a positive spin.
Oh yeah, I hear that.
So when you say to keep things on the lighter side, do you have walk-up music, or do y'all do chants, or?
So I leave the walk-up music to the parents. I've had it in the past, and I personally like it at the fields. There's a lot of people that get annoyed by it, but I mean, when you go to a major league game, it's you listen to music, you get
it's
amped
just
up.
To keep the kids entertained and keep them loose.
Keeps me entertained too.
Yeah, I recently had a coach tell me that their level of play is too high to have walk-up music, and I'm like, I guess the major leagues isn't a high level
Yeah, I
compared
guess
to a 12-year-old majors team. But,
Right.
But, you know, to each their own, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, and how they feel. But tell me again, forgive me if you already told me, but what age group do you coach?
I've got a 12U team and a 14U team.
Oh, okay. So they're not too far apart.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun, man.
And what would be the most difficult part of coaching?
Honestly, like I love doing this. I love coaching. I love baseball. It's pretty much my life. So the most difficult thing would be probably the parents.
Yeah. Hey, that is. It's true.
Yeah. No, and sometimes, like, and so I'll get specific on that. The one thing that really kind of grinds my gears about parents is their rush.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they're always wanting, oh, well, we need to be playing up, or we need to play at a higher age group, or Johnny needs to, you know, be a major league player right now.
Yeah.
And like I have two problems with that. It's like, one, like if you rush through it, they're gonna lose their confidence at a certain point, because they're gonna face a kid that they're not ready to face, whether it's on the mound or at the plate. And two, like it's something I always tell the kids, like, hey, you got one shot at this. Like you don't get a do-over. You don't get to relive your teenage years, your good athletic years. So you get one opportunity. And so like that's the same thing I'd say to the parents is, you get one opportunity to enjoy this. You know, like it's sit back, relax, enjoy their time as kids, because as you get older it gets more serious. You know, and then I mean obviously you get older, you have to travel far away. You know, they go off to college. You know, you don't get to see them as much. You know, you don't get to, you'll make the trip every once in a while, but like enjoy this time. That's kind of my biggest gripe.
And that's what it should be. This is youth baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It should be enjoyed. It shouldn't be stressed about going to Oklahoma at 10 years old and, you know, and stressing because they're playing a hard team or we're not. I mean, yeah, challenge the kid, but have fun.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I mean, AA, AAA majors, like we're getting challenged every weekend, and I've had teams at multiple levels. I've had teams as high as majors, and then obviously I have a couple of teams right now. One of them's AA. Like we've been challenged at all levels. Like I've faced kids at AA that they're pretty stinking good. Like, and then I go up to majors level and I remember that kid or remember those couple of kids. It's like, man, that kid was just as good.
Right.
You know, that pitcher was throwing just as hard. You know, like, and granted, like, there's differences between AA, AAA majors. But, I mean, you know, we'll move up if we're not getting challenged. But I've never really been in a situation where we're not being challenged.
That's good, man. So, going back, what are some of your coaching goals for this season coming up?
Since we're moving into the fall, I always kind of say the fall is we're getting ready for the spring. It's developmental time. So goals aren't necessarily, you know, I want to win 4 tournaments. You know, for specifically for my 12U team, I'd like them to get more efficient on defense.
Right.
They've got skill, you know, but you know, their footwork's bad, their glove work's bad. You know, there's little tiny things there that, you know, that can be improved on. And so I'd really like to focus on the small things, you know, so that when we get to the spring, we can go focus on the big things, like getting some wins, winning some tournaments, all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, like offensively, I personally hate to bunt. I'm a hitter, so I like to hit.
Swing away, baby.
Yeah, like I hate 3-0 takes. I just, you know, bunting. I'd rather have them work on getting the ball to the right side of the field instead of bunting. But that being said, I would like to work on that a little bit more this fall. Mainly for the base hit bunts, you know, because that's a skill that they need to have when they get older. I always preach it to my faster guys, like, look, you lay down one base hit bunt a week, you move from 250 to 300 automatically. So that's and when I do a bunt, I like it to be a base hit bunt, especially like, and so with kids too, you give them a bunt signal, they're just like,
yeah,
coach, come on.
I want to go.
Yeah, like I want to swing. Like, come on, let me hit a home run.
Yeah.
So when I make it a base hit bunt, then they're like, okay, you know, I got a chance to show off my speed. I got a chance to get on base. My batting average may go up. Obviously, when they missed that one base hit bunt, we got to get it down. But like there again, I like to make bunting as fun as possible, as entertaining as possible, I guess.
Yeah, for
sure. Better way to say it.
So how are you building chemistry with this team, especially since they're so new?
So one thing I usually do is I like to have an outing, a way for them to see me outside of a baseball setting, because it gets pretty serious. I'm always barking at them. I'm always like, I'm the guy that's always telling them what they're doing wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always like, sometimes they hate me for it. It's like, Coach, can't you ever just like tell me what I'm doing well? It's like, I do. But like, I'm here to make you better. So if you're not working on the things you're doing wrong, then what are you doing? So we'll go. I've done putt in the past. We've done bowling in the past. We've just done a simple barbecue in the past, stuff like that. So plan on doing like a preseason thing, and then it's good for them to kind of see each other.
Yeah.
Off the field. Yeah, off the field. Like
totally different. Seeing without the helmet, you're like, hey, who's that kid?
Right. No, for real though. Like it's common. Like I'm just like, I see my team walking up. I'm like,
no hats or anything. It's like, who
are
the heck
you?
Is this?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like that. I've never seen that hair on you. Like where was that?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So like and even for them, like when we're in practice, we're in games. And especially if you're trying to compete and get to a higher level, they're competing with each other. So there can be little bits of animosity. There's like, man, why is Johnny starting over me? Or why is Johnny playing shortstop and I'm over here at second base or something like that? Mm-hmm. So you get them off the field, they kind of develop a relationship.
Yep.
I know for sure in college, especially that really helped because, I mean, you can imagine the competition that's there in college. And I remember specifically, I was a first baseman in college, and then there was 2 or 3 other first basemen. So I'm just like, okay, like I'm looking at you. I was like, man,
he's trying to take my job.
You're trying to take, yeah, exactly. You're trying to take my job. But like we got time to hang out in the dorms. We got time to hang out, on campus. We see each other walking to class and stuff like that. And yes, there was that competition. Yes, we both wanted to play first base, but at least we had a relationship. At least, like we could jive on a certain level together. Like whereas you're just pro ball for sure. Like you're not living on campus, you're not walking to class together. You're probably in apartments across the city or whatever. So you don't really ever hang out. And then at that point, oh my gosh, it's cutthroat. So you're really like, man, I don't want to talk to you.
So talking about college, give me a little bit of background about yourself. Where you went to high school, college, and then you've already told us your pro ball, but you can tell us that again.
So I graduated from Prosper High School in 2008.
Boy, there was nothing around that high school, was there?
Nothing. No, and our high school was now the current middle school. So
oh, wow.
They've grown quite a bit.
They have a freshman school now.
Yeah. Oh, I know it. And they've already got plans for another school. Like it's growing like wildfire. So I graduated from there. I moved to Prosper from Plano halfway through. Parents wanted to live in the country and get some land, so
there we go.
They moved. Thankfully, they moved early enough.
They got it at the right time.
Oh yes. Oh, absolutely. Like right now, there is no land left to buy.
No.
So moved in pretty much halfway through. Like I played my sophomore year there, but we moved in December. So I was in Plano the fall semester of that year. So graduated in 2008. I was a first team All-State first baseman, so that was super cool, especially in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Then I went to Paris Junior College, about 2 hours down the road in East Texas. Played there for 2 years. I got to mention I was an academic All-American, so I studied. I did my books.
Yeah.
So then from there I went up to play for the Huskers for a year. That was probably the coolest experience of my life. Like playing at a big D1 school. Unfortunately got redshirted there, so I didn't actually get to play. But just living in Lincoln for a year,
experiencing,
like especially being in like that kind of a program, that's an A&M, that's a Texas, that it's a big, and especially up there, like that's the only thing they got. So like Memorial Stadium is huge, like the sea of red, I never truly understood that until I got there. And like first football game, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I get it. Field's beautiful, facilities are top notch. Coolest thing when I was up there is our volunteer assistant coach was Darren Erstad. So I mean, during my recruiting process, I had a couple other options, and Dave Bingham was the recruiting coordinator at the time, and so we're talking through it, and Darren Erstad is going to be our volunteer hitting coach. I was like, really?
So that just showed you.
Where's selling the point right there?
Where's the dotted line?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, talk about left-handed hitter, like one of the like grittiest players you'll ever see in your life. Like, chance to get to learn from that guy. That I'm
sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. Where do I sign? So after that year, unfortunately, our head coach got fired. Which, I mean, like I said, cutthroat up there. Like, that's Big 12 now, Big 10. But I mean, so I took my NCAA out. And I went down the street to University of Nebraska at Kearney. That's a D2 school down in, western middle of nowhere, Nebraska. Unfortunately, they cut their program recently.
Oh, man.
So, it sucks. I can't go back there and, see a game or whatever. I can go back there and see the field. I think they do, they still play baseball there, but it's not college baseball. So that's kind of where I really shined. Toot my own horn a little bit, but I was the most decorated player in UNK history.
Nice.
4 All-American lists, 2 first team. Got voted my senior year. I led the nation in slugging percentage.
Boy, you were putting in some work, huh?
Yeah. No, and I can attest to the work that it takes to be that good or be that successful. Because
how often at that time were you practicing for these kids that are watching?
Every single day. Like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Like, I mean, daily schedule. We had weights in the morning. Like that was, I mean, we for the kids out there that don't want to get up early. My weight time was at 4:30 in the morning. So yeah, we got in there, got our weights in, went to class. Obviously, I ate somewhere in the middle there somehow. Went to class. Then we had practice. Anywhere between 2:30 and 3 o'clock. We usually practice till about 5. If we weren't doing so great, we practiced till 6. Then after that, individual work. Like, I mean, it was extra ground balls, extra fly balls. I remember one time specifically, I told my assistant coach, one of our assistant coaches, like, hey, man, I need to work on my diving. So we stuck out there for like 45 minutes, and he just hit me insane, like balls that are way out of my range, way too short, way too high, working the wall as an outfielder, hitting like tee work, like if there's a bunch of guys in there, then we're taking extra reps there. Legitimately, like the guys that were really dedicated to it, practice ended at 6, so we were done with that probably at 9. I mean, on our heavy days, like probably on a lighter day, if we're feeling the weights in the morning, it was probably 7:30 or 8, something like that. But I mean, legitimately 2 hours after practice, we're all doing individual work.
So let me ask you something, Brian. So what I'm hearing for all the, not just kids, but also the parents watching these videos, you're telling me it's the outside practice, outside of normal team practice. Is that what really matters, correct?
Absolutely. I tell kids all the time, if you show up to practice, every practice, you're going to get better. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But if you do your extra work, like, that triples, like quadruples. Because for me specifically, like, and not just me specific, everybody that works extra, like, you get to know yourself. Like, with swinging, you can figure some things out, like, oh, if I place my bat like this, I can deliver it through the zone a lot better. Or if I set my body like this, or if I do this, that, whatever, just little tiny things. Like, I mean, yeah, obviously you're working on the mechanics and everything that coach tells you what to do, but you're figuring out personal ways to do that, like, and make it better.
Very nice.
So,
did you ever watch film on yourself to see?
All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I film myself as much as I possibly could. My dad even got me this thing that you hooked onto the cages to where you just set it up and push play.
Yeah.
And you could video the swings, you could video defense, all that kind of stuff. And then I'd line it up with current MLB players and be like, okay, compare. Yeah. Like, I'm doing this, he's doing that. Well, why does he do that? Like, why do I do this? Or why do I look like this? And why does he look like that? That kind of stuff. So,
and how early did you start doing that?
I could say high school, because my dad was always videoing me. And I actually had a conversation with this about with someone else like the other day. Mm-hmm. It was slightly annoying. I was like, Dad, come on. Like, what are you doing? You're embarrassing me.
Right.
But like, so as I got further up in high school, I started looking at that video. I'm like, okay, I can evaluate myself. And so if I'm feeling something bad or I'm feeling something wrong, like, I can look at the video and see it. So now I've got two sensory receptors. Like, okay, now I feel what I'm doing wrong. Now I know what it looks like. So now I can change it. So early as high school, and then I really took that into college. Like, I mean, again, like my phone was full of videos of me. Like, just, I mean, not egocentric or anything. It's just it was all evaluational. Yeah. So yeah, no, video is key, especially as a baseball player.
Well, no wonder he's always asking us to record him. I try not to go back to that, but that's hitting close to home. So man, that's good. So what I'm getting out of everything you told me is put in the extra work, mm-hmm. no matter what.
Absolutely.
It's that extra work outside of team practice that really puts you in front of your teammates. Mm-hmm. Man, that's cool, man. That's awesome. And so where did you say you did in the pros? You were what teams?
Lincoln Salt Dogs, San Angelo Colts, and Windy City Thunderbolts.
I love those names, man.
I know. They're pretty awesome.
Man, I bet the uniforms are awesome. You should have brought some of the uniforms in. I like to look at those.
No, that's especially the Salt Dogs. And
the Salt Dogs.
Yeah, I never understood that.
What is a Salt Dog?
I still, to this day, have no idea. I asked one of the fans one day. I was like, hey, what the heck is a Salt Dog? And so and she explained it to me this. She said the Platte River actually does run right by the stadium, and I guess in the summers it gets a lot of salt deposits, mm-hmm. so you can actually see the salt in the river, and then dog days of summer. So I was like, okay, that's a stretch, but I'll take it.
So those are minor leagues. Like, what is it? What, single A, double A?
So they're all independent.
Okay.
But Lincoln was probably a double A level.
Gotcha.
San Angelo was probably a low A, and Windy City was like a high A.
Nice.
Like Frontier League is probably close to high A. It's a younger league. They actually have an age restriction, so I'm pretty sure you can't be older than like 26 or 27. Don't quote me on that. But it's around there.
Gotcha.
And then obviously, the American Association and then the Atlantic Association, they don't have any limits. I mean, they're signing guys right out of Major League Camp.
Gotcha.
Or I know, like Brandon Phillips, he's playing for an Atlantic team right now too.
Oh, nice.
So, and he's old.
He said he's old.
Yeah.
So back to Pro Source. What puts y'all above the other baseball teams? Like, what makes y'all different than the other baseball teams?
First off, we're small by choice. We're not trying to get as many teams as we possibly can, which you could say like that's a good thing. But like when you have that many teams, it's kind of like you get lost in the rat race. Like you don't know who that kid is. Like you see him once a summer and you're like, oh, hi. So first off, we're small by choice so that it's a family atmosphere. Mm-hmm. And I've seen this firsthand in my first year. Like our 18U team can come in and their practice and they can, say hi to a 12U, 13U kid and they can actually have a relationship. We have a lot of brothers that play for us as well. So, I mean, that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, honestly, to see, a 13-year-old being able to talk to an 18-year-old. I mean, even just talking about high school, as a freshman, you don't ever talk to a senior.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm pretty sure that's how it goes when they're actually in school. But at Pro Source, it's all family oriented.
Where are y'all based out of?
Carrollton.
Okay.
We're right. I mean, George Bush and 121 kind of come together. They're like a mile apart.
North Carrollton, then. Is it North Carrollton?
Yeah, North Carrollton. Yeah. Northwest Carrollton, something like that.
Gotcha.
Like right where 35, 121, and George Bush all connect, that's where we are.
Gotcha.
If you know where McKinnish is, I mean, we're 3 minutes away from there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So another thing that, as being small, we can really, really focus on the development of our guys.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever, whatever guys that really want to be involved in the program, then we're in there working our butts off to develop them. We've got, obviously we've just same as any other organization. We've got programs, strength and conditioning, arm care, velocity programs, hitting programs, all that kind of stuff. What kind of sets us apart from everybody else is first and foremost that we have a Major League Scout in our building every single day. Yeah. So that's super awesome, especially from a recruiting standpoint. On that subject, we have a recruiting service, which I've been involved with a lot of recruiting in my years of coaching, and Brandon does an awesome job. I mean, first off, he's connected like more than any of us could ever imagine. Being a Major League Scout, you talk to everybody.
Oh yeah.
Other scouts all over the country, and then like college coaches are calling you like almost daily, be like, hey, how's that kid look? Like, what's your evaluation? So, maybe Nebraska doesn't have to come down to Texas to see a kid. They can just, go on his recommendation and whatnot.
Nice.
So then
on his good side.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, absolutely. You want to be on his good side for sure. That like our facility is awesome. We've got like 8 to 10 hitting cages. We've got
nice
bullpen area with four bullpens. And the coolest part about that, I think, is we've got a cement wall on the back of it, so we can do long toss inside.
There you go.
We just wear out that brick wall or the cement wall, and like it'll never break. You can do like infield drills off that stuff if you're in there alone. And then behind that, we have a climate-controlled weight room where we do most of our speed and strength stuff and whatnot.
Very nice.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of a brief synopsis of what we do or what we're about, all that kind of jazz.
I like it. So how many? We kind of touched base on it, but how many tournaments do you think you're gonna play this season?
So the number of tournaments that we play is based around the kids having time off.
Okay.
Especially nowadays. Back when I was playing, this wasn't so much of a thing, or at least to my perception. My parents could probably tell you different. But like I'm still seeing tournaments being played right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like kids are going crazy playing 15 to 20 tournaments in a spring or summer season. And like in my opinion, that's kind of where the arm injuries are coming from. It's like way overuse. So in the fall, we'll play about 4 or 5 tournaments, and in the spring, we'll limit it to 10.
Okay. Which
is fairly low. Other organizations that I've been with, they've advertised or asked us to play 12, and then like that was the only thing I ever did before I got to ProSource. But they ask us to play 10 because then they have time off. They have time to rest their arms, let everything kind of reset. And then going back to the individual work thing, like especially at this age, like that's the key. Yeah. That's what really makes a difference. Mm-hmm. So if they're constantly playing tournaments, then they don't ever have time for individual work, especially pitching wise.
Exactly.
Like if you're just constantly throwing in games, then I don't have time or arm strength to do any individual work there. And then on top of that, like make an adjustment, like in the middle of season. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know if y'all ever experienced that, but that's impossible. Like I think Nick Solak is going through that right now. Like the Rangers sent him down, and I was listening to the radio, and they were saying like he's trying to make adjustments to his swing. He's trying to do different things,
that's
but
tough.
He's trying to do it against major league pitching. Like holy crap. So like if you have that time, like if you're constantly playing, then how are you really going to make those little adjustments to make you better? And maybe next season now you don't have to struggle so much. So we really 10 in the spring and then 4 or 5 in the fall, depending on what the team wants to do.
Nice.
And are y'all going to be doing World Series?
In the fall, no. The fall, like I said, fall is purely developmental. We're not going to travel a lot, and so going back to that, you said like go to Oklahoma to play tournaments. We did that for COVID. Whenever they locked us down, Oklahoma opened up early.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and went up there and got one in. But fortunately, Texas opened up right after that, so we didn't have to do that anymore.
Nice.
But in the spring, summer, especially with the youth ball guys, I always like to end with a World Series. So this past spring, we ended with the NCS World Series. I've done the USSSA World Series in the past too. Like I think that's an awesome experience for them. Thinking about the College World Series, they got to get used to it. So there you go.
Yeah. Next season, I'm not selling nobody, but try the PAC. They did a cool thing that we actually went in. We did interviews at the PAC World Series where they played in. They did the skills competition in Arlington at the Rangers ballpark.
Cool.
It was pretty dope, and I think they're gonna do it again.
Yeah, they're gonna do it again.
In July. So check that out. It was super fun. I mean, I'm talking to my son's coach. I was like, you need to do this one next season. It's pretty dope. It's
cool.
It's cool, man.
I've never heard of PAC. What is PAC?
Yeah,
PAC.
PAC.
Okay,
Check it out. Check it out. They run good tournaments. Where do they play? The Star?
Yeah, they play in the Star. Is it like
the
Euless?
Texas Star and Euless,
Okay.
all the
Euless?
turf fields.
Yep.
So, man, they do. Not selling out or nothing.
Right.
But they ran a good World Series. I was highly impressed. The skills, the trophies they gave for the skills competition were dope. They were
Awesome.
like glass. It was just pretty cool experience all the way around.
That
And
is
then for
pretty
the
cool.
kids to actually be on the field and
Oh yeah.
Oh,
do
yeah.
their skills competition, something
that's
they'll never
awesome.
forget.
Okay, so the home run derby. Sorry, I'm off track.
No worries.
But they didn't just put a little fence in, you hit from home plate. So they moved it to the outfield, and they're actually hitting over the wall.
Sweet.
So, but they would do it the distance that the
Right.
kids play at, and it was super cool, man. So check that out, and you'll be, oh dang,
Right.
that's pretty cool. And
No,
check,
that'd be super cool.
yeah. So the only reason I'm saying is because we were out there doing interviews on the field, and it was a super cool thing. We're trying to go to a couple more World Series. Not this season, but the following season when everything's all kicked back up.
Right.
But yeah, man, you got any closing statements you want to let the kids know or their parents know?
Going back to what I said earlier, like relax. Have fun, enjoy this process. You don't want to look back at this when you're older, parents or kids, and be like, man, that was stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that was a grind. I mean, it's a grind in itself. Like baseball is tough. We hit 300 for a reason. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
So enjoy it as much as you can. And then like for the kids, and it kind of goes couple of different ways, because we got kids in football, basketball. I encourage kids to play lacrosse. I played that for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
It's an awesome sport. And talk about like baseball and lacrosse, like two things that kind of coincide with each other, like the physics and also catching a ball. Like they're pretty similar in that sense. But I mean, and so I don't discourage playing other sports at all because you're going to become a more rounded athlete.
Yep.
But whatever you're doing, get extra time. And so the one thing that always kind of rung with me throughout my career is even if you play this game like until the end, like you retire like David Ortiz or Nolan Ryan at age 42 or whatever, like you've still got 60 years left to live.
Yeah.
And so going back to what I said, like you got one shot at this, take full advantage of your one shot. And then even if you do like lose out on some birthday parties or some friend vacations or spring breaks, that's another big thing. If you miss out on that, that's fine. Like you still got 50 to 60 more years to enjoy that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you go on a family vacation, then you got some stories to tell. It's like, oh no, I went to college and got a degree and whatever. No, I played college baseball. Like I did this, I did that. You got fun stories to tell, and you can. I mean, me personally, I've been enjoying it much more. Right?
Yeah.
We went on vacations when I was little. Obviously, don't go on vacations. Please be a family. Like that. Not saying like just go crazy with it.
Yeah.
Like I said, have fun. But like every moment that you can, if your body's able to, go out and work.
Yeah.
Because one thing I can say too from my career as well is like the more I worked, the more I learned. And I look back and say, like, man, if I would have done that 3 years earlier, if I would have done that in high school or previous to high school, man, I would have known that in high school. You know, I would have known that then, and then what could have happened.
Right.
You know, so that's why I always say, like, take advantage of this time, because, you know, each year is going to go past. You know, kids are going to be learning things, and they may pass you up. So don't let them pass you up.
Awesome, man. You hear that? Put in the extra work.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brian. Thank you for coming in, man.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
Thanks again, Brian.